are live on YouTube. Okay.
What's up, Victor?
YouTube.
Oh, go
What's
ahead,
up?
finish it.
Okay, so we are live on you. Okay, so yeah. All right, so me and David, we're gonna be talking about building the world's best language app. And David, can you tell us a story of why? I know we shared it before. It's like, but it's like share the story of how it started for you, and I'll share the story how it started for me, so that people know the real story. But before we do that,
Hmm. Yeah,
because people are like, well, your story, yeah, what's like you're talking about your app, right? Why do we share our story, dude? What do you think? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Why would you share our story?
I think because I think because people have this misperception about how language is learned, and it's like this, only these 200 IQ geniuses do this, but it's like it's actually like this. We're like real people. There's actually this
Mhm,
ups and downs and all this
mhm,
like there's bad periods, there's good periods, and eventually, but like reaching a result. I used to think this when I watch your videos. I would think be like, oh no, just Victor's brain's built different than mine. Like he's just a genius.
mhm.
And I still think you're tremendously smart, but I think that anyone can learn languages after talking about like that it's a more human experience. You don't have to be like a godlike creature to be able to sit there and achieve a fluency in the foreign language, especially like something that's so alien to us. Like as like if you're a native English speaker, learning Chinese is like, I mean, here it's kind of a joke. You say when you look at something you don't understand, you're just like, oh, it's Chinese. You know,
Mm, mm. Yeah, so
I think that's
and
important, man, for people to hear the story because
yeah,
they can
they
relate.
can relate to it. Yeah, they can relate to it. But why would you say, because if people like, because in this live stream we're talking about building the world's best language app. Why would you just think about like why we like, do you think that you're the best in the world to build this app? Why? It's like there's so many apps. Why so confident? Why
I've
are you so
never
confident? Are you delusional?
because I
That's the
went through.
question.
Am I delusional?
Are we delusional? Like,
Because
why? Why
all right,
was
you
the
want
worst best app in the world?
so I went because I went through your program. Went from zero to I would say conversational fluent in Mandarin, and um, and I'd never heard of any one of these founders that built any of these apps like ever having. What I mean? Like when you look up the Duolingo founders, it's like they're like, okay, like they built this. What is it? It's some university professor and his student, and they're like programmers. Or there's this new company called this new startup that raised like $100 million, and they're supposed to be building the new Duolingo. And it's like, okay, but you look at the founders, it's like, what languages have you achieved fluency in? Like, what foreign
Mm,
languages have you studied? They're kind of
mm,
just like mercenaries. They're just building apps. Like they're good
mm,
app people or tech people, but it's
mm.
it's like being it's like if you never go to the gym and you're like, hey, I'm gonna build the world's greatest gym app, like like I'm gonna interview people who work
Yeah,
at the gym, I'm gonna figure out their problems and build the best app.
yeah.
It's like the best way you can figure this shit out is like,
It's like nobody saw them. Like, let me create a program on how to tell people to get lean and fit and get muscles,
yeah,
but nobody
like
saw me getting muscles.
yeah,
So
or
and
like
nobody
building a
talks
cooking
about it.
app, but you don't cook, like
Nobody
it's
talks
like
about it. Like there is a
no
big
one,
app which is
yeah,
called Speak. There is a big app which is called like Speak. There's Duolingo. But who are the people who build them? Have you seen those? First of all, first thing, have you seen those founders speaking difficult, complex, not just like some freaking Spanish? Come on, just completely complex languages, which are just five or six: Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Cantonese, Arabic. Level 5 languages, which take 3 to 4 times, 3.6 times more time than learning Spanish or any easiest language in the world, like Italian,
I've never
right? It's
seen
like
it.
four. I have never seen that. So that's the question number one. Nobody saw it.
Yeah,
That's why it's the world's best language app. Do you guys think I'm kidding? Like, really?
you're
Really?
talking about
Like,
our app, right? Not okay.
yeah, like our app is the world's best language app in the world. Like It will be because it is created by people who actually learned it. Well, here's the second thing. Have you seen any of those apps saying that, oh, the person just literally learned the language using the system or at least something from those apps where they speak the at least Spanish? Have you seen that?
Yeah,
I've never. Okay, so how many people do you know use Duolingo? It's like everybody
I
tells me
half
they're
the
like
world,
using it
yeah.
for years. They don't get any result.
I used it too. It doesn't it, like I started I spent it 2 months on it trying to learn Chinese, and before I found
Mm,
your YouTube link this back in 2022.
mm,
Uh, yeah. But everyone in my family uses Duolingo, like everyone,
mm,
grandmas, aunts, all this.
mm,
I have
mm,
a uncle, he's used Duolingo for over 1 year now, or
mm,
2 years almost. He has, like, hundreds of those XP points in
mm,
Spanish, but
mm.
he's not conversational in Spanish.
Yeah,
And I'm
somebody
like,
people are like, but like in the comments below this video, sorry for interrupting, but somebody will be like, but it helped me with Spanish. Now I can speak. I'm like, dude, please post the video. Like, please, please. You can't have a
yeah,
5 damn minute conversation like randomly. It's like,
I the best progress I remember. I think that I have this, like, big problem with stubbornness, and the thing you helped me, like, get through was, you fought me on this, and eventually I accepted it, which was, like, textbooks are the way, classes
mm,
are the way, like, real consistent studying that this like, I can't think of a better word because, like, I always think about this word. I'm like, "What is Duolingo?" And I'm like, at the end of the day, it's like it's kinda like masturbation, like, it's like a
mm,
mental exercise that you're doing that's like it's like a
yeah,
game. It feels good, but you don't make any actual progress. You're not
mm,
actually moving anywhere. You're not it's not productive. Um, and I
exactly.
don't know. Dude, if these founders ever
They
actually
will.
use their own apps to learn languages or study, like, they would talk about it. They would put that story, like,
Mm,
you buy in America, you buy these, like, cereal boxes, and on the back, there's a story. It's like, "Here's
mm,
how me and my grandmother came up with this, like, cereal," or, "There's a yogurt box. Here's how," you
mm,
know? But those
mm,
people actually eat their own product. They
mm,
built it as, like, because they wanted better yogurt, and they
mm,
eat yogurt,
mm,
I don't know what the hell is going on with these language apps. So I think that's why they
mm,
always miss the mark. Like, when you jump in and they're like, "Oh, let's just teach you through the
mm,
app how to
mm,
order at a like, how do you say I want to buy an orange?"
mm.
It's like when I was learning Bahasa with Duolingo in Bali, it was like everything you learn in the beginning. It's like, I want to drink milk.
Mm.
Okay, I want to buy an apple. Okay,
Mm.
it's like, what is why are we doing this? When am
It's
I
like
ever going to
one
apply this?
sentence
Like,
on the screen, choose the right word, put it the right, and there is only one sentence. It's like no
yeah,
context, no
no
dialogue,
context.
no situation.
And the
It,
moment you click the button, it disappears forever. It's like I
yes,
can't even review what I learned,
even
but it
if you
feels
do,
fun. Yeah,
it's to be honest, like I tried, I tried this. There are like different like AI apps, like Speak. Oh, you can speak. Good luck, dude. Like, what is okay? So everybody just, you know what? Like, I did science at the university. I started publishing scientific papers. I talked about it during the last live stream. Do you know what actually like the difference between science and bullshit? The science, when you write a scientific paper, every single sentence that you, especially at the beginning of a scientific paper, like there is a section, every single journal, magazine, scientific magazine, they require one section at the beginning of a scientific paper which is called the literature review. Every single thing that comes up in your scientific paper should be based on something which has already been proved. So every single thing they do, they're like, well, here's our method to learn a language. Connect this word with a picture. Why do you use it? What's your reference? Well, you asked me what's my reference. Go to my website. My first client learning Chinese, he became fluent in Chinese. Maybe coincidence, because he was just the only person. But well, I got another one and another one, and another, and people got fluent. Fluency on my program is rare. Let me be very honest with you, because it takes a true outlier to become fluent within a year. It's like crazy. I got people like this, and he wasn't like completely fluent, but he was like close to fluent, right? He was. You wouldn't tell that he wouldn't be fluent, but just like to be completely open and honest here. But I helped a lot of people tens of people to get conversational in Korean and Chinese and even Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. If you go to victortalkingacademy.com/Spanish, victortalkingacademy.com, or just victortalking.com, there is a testimonials of Chris, also polyglot, speaking a lot of languages, knows a lot of polyglots, even on YouTube, who learned Spanish using my system. He finished like hundreds of pages from the textbook. Back then, we didn't even have an app. Where have you seen an app that says our system of like the things that we are using in the app, at least some of them, are based on the process that helped a lot of people start speaking the most difficult languages
I
on the
never
planet?
never seen that, dude. These apps,
It,
they're just like, "Oh, here's our video,
when you
click."
write when you write a scientific paper, when you create something in science, I published 20 plus scientific papers in two languages on gold investments and behavioral economics. When you write something in a scientific paper, you reference it in brackets. You write the name of the surname of the author. Like it depends because it's like there is a um, there are different standards, but basically it's like I don't I forgot, like there is like a popular standard in the US they use for papers. But the thing is that you normally write the surname and year. Like for example, like my surname, like Sazonov, like 2012, like somebody referencing. By the way, I do have citations too. So basically, and the thing is that those like all journals, that doesn't matter whether it's top Scopus journal magazines or something, and they just create this app. Like it's like, and I was like, who the f, like, I'm sorry for my French, but who the f did really ask you how to like learn the language? Did you learn the language? Did somebody learn the language using your method? Well, nobody did, because you just want to cash on it, and you just want to make people connect the word with the picture and give them stupid points. Well, let me tell you one thing. In our app, we don't have stupid points. What do we have? We have time tracking, because time is the most valuable asset on earth. You can ask
Yeah.
anybody. You can ask a freaking billionaire who is 40 years old or 50 years old. Who could trade all his money to to become a child again, to get all his years back, to get his health back. Because the most important thing is time. It's the most important asset. It's more important than money. It's more important than anything. And you tell me that it's like, oh yeah, we just give you stupid points. Why? We track time every day. You should track time. You get points. Your points from the language is your time. Why would you say so? Basically, there are a lot of things I can talk about here, but the most important thing is that every single app, disprove me in comments. Please disprove me in comments. Do you know why I want you to disprove me? Not because I want, not because I'm humble, but because once you disprove me, I just go study them. I just outcompete them. We'll just outcompete. Just let me know. Let me know who's better. Nobody. Okay, nobody. Especially level 5 languages, multiple languages, who speaks them, built an app based on a system that has already helped at least one person. Nobody. Okay, so if you tell me that, just that's the thing, right? So um that's the thing. That's why we are building the best app in the world. So why? So what are the features? David, let me know what you think about what I said. Just so you can proceed the conversation in any kind of direction that you want. I'm
There's
kind of
so
getting
many
crazy about that. Yeah.
there's so many things. I think people usually have this question like, why are you tracking time? Like, why is that? Why doesn't the app have a
Mm,
bunch of these, like, cookie cutter standard, like, here's a picture, here's how you say car, here's a,
mm,
like, why doesn't it have that? Why is it
mm,
centered around a 68-day challenge? Why is it centered around
mm.
time? Like, what's the point? Why is that the thing?
Yeah, so basically, University College London, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, they did the research. The minimum time required, minimum time. There are different time frames, by the way. People think 66 days is just the only time frame. It's not the only time frame, but the minimum time required to form a simple habit is 66 days. 66 is a bad number. Like in China is okay, but it's like in a lot of cultures, like 6 is not a good number. 67 has already been reserved by Tai Lopez. And, and if somebody knows who he is. And 68, 8 is the best number, really. It's like it's really good number, and that's why we chose 68. And it's just a plus 2 days, right? So it's basically to form a habit. If you study every single day, or if at least you think about studying, and some days you missed, of course, right? So it's not perfect. I myself missed a lot of days, but if you do form a habit, and by the way, it does become easier. I just tested it first time I was doing it. What happens is that you don't really make yourself like to use willpower as much to start studying. and your
Yeah.
brain starts craving it. Especially if you, I would recommend to read some books about habits. There is a things about craving and connecting your activity to some kind of routine. So, for example, I start craving learning when I drink coffee. So, coffee is a healthy stimulator. So, basically, I drink coffee and I learn while drinking coffee, and it stimulates my brain, stimulates my mood, and stuff like this. So, this positive feeling of drinking coffee is already associated with learning. And I track my time, and I track my time every single day. And I have like today I had a class to learn Japanese. Tomorrow I have three classes, two classes for Japanese in the morning, one class Chinese in the evening. So yeah, tomorrow, sorry, yeah. So tomorrow
For
I'll
like
spend
a
like 3 hours learning.
for like an absolute beginner, what do you think time tracking does for them? Like it gives them, or what does it give
Yeah,
them?
it's like it's the best. It just gives them the points that everybody wants to get in Duolingo and everybody's happy about, and that actually don't matter in real life, but they it gives them like real life points. And it has a psychological effect because if you miss a week, the person would automatically like if they don't track their time, they psychologically would create this negative image of themselves that they're like
Hmm.
slacking off, not consistent, gave up on learning. But let's if you have an Excel spreadsheet, I mean, my I started tracking my time 2011/12, and I started tracking my time learning English back in the day. And I remember that that I was like so proud looking at the column on the Excel spreadsheets, like the column of the time that I already put in. And just serves because you can miss a week, but your average, if you calculate the average, which is also like the golden thing, your average might be just 10, 20 minutes a day still like your average, because the average
Yeah.
is such a good thing. Because let's say you studied for 1 hour a day for 2 months, and then you missed a week, and other one person would beat themselves up and say,
Exactly.
oh my god." But with average, that's the most important number in our tracking system. With average, you miss a week. That's why you got back to learning, man. Like, imagine. Do you remember you were missing so much stuff
Oh
learning
my
Chinese?
God.
So
Yeah.
imagine
Like
you won't be
weeks.
time tracking. Yeah, and it's like, but your average doesn't go to zero.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to zero
Dude.
even if you don't study. So it motivates you. It's like, yeah, I already
Yeah.
have average, which is not zero. I'm not zero. Okay, I'm not zero. I'm positive. So I don't have this downward, because here's the thing: people don't do shit because they don't do it. They don't want because they don't believe in themselves, and something like something happens, something gets in their
Yeah.
way. They're like, oh, this family stuff and this one I missed a few days. Oh, I just give up. I'll just take a break and stuff like this,
Yeah.
and they just medicate themselves. And but the thing is that you need to stay consistent, and you see this average which never goes to zero, and you see the time that you've already put in, like the summary of the time. Like I put in, like, let's say, like 15 hours of learning. In the
Yeah.
app you can see like the breaks and how many hours you've already put in. Man, like, you just get proud of that. It's like it is in itself is an achievement. And now you're like, you get consistent, and then you see months go by, and you just start speaking. And here it is, point of no return. For learning Korean is 4 textbooks, for workbooks in my system. For learning Chinese is about 3 to 4 textbooks, maybe 2 textbooks for some people. Depends on how they practice. But yeah, it's for Japanese, it's like 2 to 3 textbooks. It's just the point of no return. You can speak the language.
That's what surprised me the most was with the Chinese, like, on after the second textbook, the second Hanyu Jiaqiang, I was like, I could already have, like, broken conversations, but extensively with people, you know?
Mm,
Like, I could speak as if I was, like, a newly arrived like, when newly arrived immigrant arrives at a country, it's, like, their first month, and they're, like, at the store or the bank and stuff. Like, people work with you on it, but all it took was 2 months and, sorry, it took, like, 3 months of consistent studying, but 2 textbooks. But it wasn't that long. That's
mm,
what shocked me. That's what, like, blew my
mm,
whole worldview is like, "Wait a minute.
mm,
You can get to this point where it's like, there are these, like, feedback loops where, okay, now I hear something, I remember it, or, like, I watch a movie, I, like, picked up little words here and there, I'm like, I know what that said,
mm,
I know what this said." Sometimes you get short phrases, you understand the whole thing. That only takes, like, about 2 months, 3 months. And really, you could probably do it in 2 months if you just studied 1 hour every single day. If I did that in the beginning, if I didn't, take all these breaks, if I didn't, like, do my 20-minute days, or, like, all the travel and stuff.
mm,
But when I look at the number, it's like, okay, I studied about 100 hours. But that was
mm,
that my kind of my point of, like, wait, I can actually do something in this foreign language that is, like, impossible. Like, I have Oh man, when I told some of my friends I'm studying Mandarin, I had some colleagues who or in friends who studied at university. They're like, "Oh, I studied Chinese for 3 years, 4 years, and then I
Mm,
went to China for a month." And then
mm,
they were like, "I couldn't speak to anyone." You know, it's like, um and so I used to think, I'm like, "Oh, if you learn Chinese, like, you're gonna spend 4 years to get, like, basically nowhere. It's only in the 10th year actually achieve a result." It's like, no, that's not fucking true at all. Like, you just need a
yeah,
right system.
yeah,
You don't use the fucking apps. Like, don't use your primary learning materials should be structured in the way the textbooks were. And it's like, here's a context, here's a
mm,
lesson, here's the vocab words, and each lesson progressively gets harder. It's like this random this like streak stuff is so counterproductive. I hate building those streaks because it's like, okay, I broke my streak because I'm a
mm,
human being. I had to take someone to the airport today. I had a disaster.
mm,
Now I don't want to work. But it's
mm,
like with the average, you stay motivated because you're like, oh, it's not like there's this thing about like alcoholics that like recover from alcoholism, where it's like they have a cure for alcoholism, but you
mm,
have to apply it once every single day.
mm,
It's like, okay, every day you need to apply it, otherwise you can reset back to zero. But that's not how learning is. Learning is not like quitting a addiction. It's learning is like a cumulative thing. But all of this streak stuff and whatever is just it's the wrong psychology, and it works counter to how human beings think.
mm,
We're emotional. If I wake up 3 days in a row and feel like, oh man, I'm making no progress in my life, it's like
mm,
my body and mind feels like I'm stagnating. But when you look at that number and you think like, wait a minute, I still have a 53-minute average in Mandarin every single day over like 2 years. I can keep this going. Like, I'm not
mm,
zero. Like,
mm.
I'll talk for a while about that, but go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the same. Like it's ultimately time is the ultimate resource, and if you track it, we see how
Yeah.
much time we've already. I was just looking at the comment, and somebody's tried to say the smart thing about sample size and everything. Well, it's a scientific study which was proven to be correct. So if it was published in the top one of the top world's top journals, so you can say whatever you want. It's like you can say, "Well, I don't believe scientific studies which are approved." I can well, you can disprove that. What's your credentials? Are you professor? Like, what's your citation? Give me your surname in the chat, and I'll just Google you. You know. So it's like I have two master's degrees. I know what I'm talking about. So basically, somebody
Let's
says about sample size. I'm like, dude, okay, like, was that study disproved? No. So why would you say that? It's like,
is the same is the comment about the habit forming study?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it's 68 days or
It's let's
67 days or
let
22. It's
let's
like,
think of yeah. Like
what are you saying?
if we even bring it down to like just first principles, let's think about like from like
Yeah.
fundamentally. It's like at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the more days that you do something consistently, you can just say that the more days you do something consistently, the more likely it is to form into a habit.
Mm,
So maybe if they like it doesn't really fundamentally matter. There's this study,
yes.
they did some statistics, they did all this, they came up with a
Mm,
number,
mm,
but that number is much more likely to be that 68 is much more likely to be closer to what the actual truth is. If like God came
mm,
down and was like the number is actually like
mm,
91.3 days is the perfect.
mm,
It doesn't
mm,
matter
mm,
as long as it actually gets results for people. I don't I'm not a big fan of getting stuck on like hung up on all of the minutia of like this is the perfect correct. There's this
mm,
Ray Dalio who I really look up to talks often about this concept where he calls in English he says it's like by and large. He
mm,
says people get stuck in this perfection of like we need to be super precise with numbers. Like you need to be super precise because a modern educational system teaches you in school that if you have a math question and you write 12.1, it's wrong. You should have wrote 12.1.2.
mm.
That's how it's drilled, but in real life, you just need to focus on achieving results. Who gives a fuck if
Exactly.
it's 68, 90? It's not, I guarantee you won't build a habit in 3 days
I mean,
and you
you
won't
learn
build,
you won't learn a language in 60 days, guys. Don't get me wrong. You have to do a few challenges like this. David, by the way, sorry for interrupting, but can you answer the common question that some people might have because we had this like, does the app teach you the language? Yes or no? And if yes, so in what ways? And what is the current direction of that we're going to? And why will it become ultimately the world's best app?
So as of today's update, the app has a teaching component, which is a vocab list tool. It does spaced repetition, so you add words to it, and it takes away the largest difficulty of building together your own vocabulary list, which is, let's say you're learning Mandarin. Mandarin is, when you look at the character itself, if you're looking at a strange character, brand new character, you don't know how it sounds. You don't even know how to look it up in a dictionary without the pinyin. So you need the transliteration phonetics. You need a translation, a definition, and then you also need grammar patterns because Mandarin doesn't work in a way that you can just use it randomly. You have to know how it fits in the sentences, where the subjects go, how different examples. So we built a tool where you just put in that symbol word by itself, just by itself. You click add, and AI does all of the enhancements for you, creates a reviewable, like a review item for you, a vocab word item. And then when you review it, it automatically goes hidden in the app and then it resurfaces later after a certain cooldown. So after a certain number of reviews, like you're doing spaced repetition this way. So um, it's using AI to handle all of the difficulties of manually taking notes. Like when I used to do this stuff myself, I'd sit there forever on these like Word documents. I'd have handwritten notes in class and all this. This takes away all of that stuff, so you can focus just on the learning. You can use it in the middle of class. Like I wish I was at Hagong Da right now, just using this in class. Like, oh, my teacher just said Chengzhong. Okay, I just write Chengzhong, hit enter, and I forget about it until I go home later tonight. But while I was in class, I'm like trying to listen to her, write the pinyin, write the definitions. It's too much. But if people are asking like does it give you these like a picture of a car and say this is true, like a like like true, like, no, it doesn't do that. And but the direction that the app is going is first we're starting as building the ultimate power tool for solving learners problems. And here's how we thought about it, right? Number one, what's your biggest problem for learners? It's not an abundance of resources. If the problem was learning materials, then today everyone would be fucking fluent. But
Mm,
everyone struggles. There's a million books. I mean, you can go and find endless books on learning Japanese, Korean, Mandarin. You can find,
mm,
I mean, probably there's over like 500 years worth of videos on YouTube for learning
mm,
any of these languages. If that
mm.
was the problem, this would be solved by now, but it's not. The biggest
Exactly.
problem we started with was like
Mm,
consistency and habit building because that's where it came with tracking. We have video courses in the app that give a kickstart for Chinese and Korean because they're so exceptionally difficult. But the majority of your learning should follow around a really well established series of textbooks. Like that's how I learned. That's how everyone I know who actually got results got results. I have never met a single person ever in all of my travels and all my years that says, "Hey, I went from zero to fluent in French, like just using an app. I just used video courses." No one.
mm,
You're kidding yourself. The best materials are there, but the app is like a companion tool that works with solving the problem of consistency. It solves the problem of motivation. Then it also gives you principles, like the all of Victor's system for like here's how you approach language, like the social learning, spatial representation, all of these golden nuggets that like were all over the place or in your coaching program are now accessible within the app. I had to go through like months of coaching just to like figure this stuff out, and now it's like it's just there. And the vocab list tool as well on top of that is our first step into this. And the next step, the stuff that's coming later this month, I mean, maybe even by the end of this week, if Apple is really kind to us with their review time, sometimes they slow down updates, is the AI interactions, like voice chat with an AI that does a vocab drill. So it guides you how the best teachers in the world at Hagongda would do is how they would teach you a word in the
mm,
processes that they need to teach you, like to do a drill on a vocab word, and
mm.
then later we'll expand to other things. But we have to nail this process and do this like step by step, and we're moving as fast as I've ever seen anyone move
Mm.
with this stuff. Yeah,
W-
that's my whole answer right now.
We get a lot of people, and we already have a leaderboard, and we have people learning with the app and liking the app, and you know, it's not perfect, but it is the best thing out there I've seen. So here's my personal experience. You'd be like, but yeah, but it's your app. Yeah. So everything I don't like, I tell every single day about it. And then we remove it, we change it. Everything David doesn't like, we remove it, we change it. So here's the thing that I did.
You
So
just sent me like a giant list of stuff yesterday that
yeah,
you don't like. You're like, get rid of all this, simplify it. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, let's do it.
yeah. Normally it's like deleting, but basically, the thing is that how I used it, I started tracking my time within the app, and the thing that I liked a lot was that it's just I'm not using Excel spreadsheet for that, and I'm not even checking
Hmm.
out Excel spreadsheet. And I actually do like the feature for pages. We can put it, but we don't have to like show it everywhere. And I like that. Oh, I tracked how many pages I finished, and in total, I can see that. Oh, I studied for that many minutes for that, and it just shows you the data, and
Hmm.
it motivates you. It shows you the graph, and that's the first thing. Second thing that I actually, but you, I mean, at that point, like when it was like version type of like version one of the app, it's like we'll call it like version one. I wouldn't
Yeah.
spend a lot of time there. I was just like log in, logging my time, check some stats. It would be like 3 seconds. Then David released this feature, which is called, guys, it's called, he calls it vocabulary review. You know how I would call it? The
How would you call
best
it?
way in the shortest way possible, but it's like the best way to learn vocabulary in the world. Also, I'm sorry to be so confident. This my overconfidence just helped me to learn multiple languages, and it worked for me. So this is what I'm doing. But
Wow,
yeah,
you really believe in it, man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
but the thing is that, do you think? But you're like, oh yeah, it's because. Do you think I'm so smart so that I created the best vocabulary review tool in the world? No. Who is the smartest? We like I myself. Every single principle I talk about, I learned all those things from the best teachers in the world that we have also in Chinese. There is a process that we saw teachers use when they teach vocabulary. You know the dumbest process that now apps use. Please copy us so that you can guys improve. Okay, so you'll have to copy because we'll disrupt you from within. We'll disrupt the industry. So here's the
Do you
thing.
want to go ahead?
Yeah, sorry, I'll finish. But they put just one word on the screen. Or what is that? Oh, okay, next one. Okay, so okay, you learn the word. How do you say? How do you speak? I don't know. I just want to. So you're just saying like one word on the card. Here's my flashcards. I'm like, okay, so, but okay, but I can add the sentence. I can add the I can add the audio. What else? What else can you? People don't have no idea. There is a clear process of how you go through the vocabulary. There is like I shared it. Who subscribed to my email list? Go to victortalking.com. Get my free course. I have a free course. You has pay zero for that. Get to my email list. I send gold there, just pure gold for free. So if I share only with my clients sometimes, but I send it just completely for free. So there is a 5 step vocabulary process that I teach, but I didn't create it. I'm not as great. Okay, I just want to bring this best information to you guys so that you can use it. But the thing is that it's like it's the best. It's the best review vocabulary review tool in the world because it has spaced repetition. It has it has like audio, like usages, structures, all those things. And so yeah, David, what do you want to say? So basically that's the best tool that and so oh sorry, I couldn't finish I didn't finish. I just want to say so much in just like 1 second. Um I caught myself first time in my life learning with this app for 25 minutes. So I have my notes from the classes. I would copy the phrase or word. I would paste it to the app. I'm a listening type. I like to listen. I would check the sentences. I would press the audio, check the sentence, place the audio, get another phrase, press review. So it's like the process would repeat. And it's like I just noticed like I learned with the app like in total like for 1 hour on that day. And I was like, that's the first time in my life I learned with the app. And I was cheating on apps all my life, and also now I'm learning with the app, and this app is so great. So yeah, so Dave, what do you want to say?
I want to say like, do people know the? Do you want to talk about the timeline? Like you at Hagongda, then client. Okay. So as I understand it, you went to when did you go to you went to Harbin 2016,
2016, yeah.
2016, 17, 18, 18 you went to Korea.
19, I went to Korea.
19. Got it.
Came
Okay.
to Korea.
And then you went 19 and then
Mm.
so then I became your client for Mandarin in 22, I think 2022. And then yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it
Ah,
was 2022.
2020? No, 2021. No, 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 no. Wait a second. 2022. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 2022. Yes.
No, wait, hold on. No, you're wrong. It was 21. Yeah, it was 21 in Barcelona.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 21. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 21.
Yes. 2020. Yeah. Yeah.
And then 21, and then I always mess this thing up. No,
No.
hold on
No.
a
No. It's
minute. It was
2022.
like
Yeah. 2022, man. 2022.
it was
Because
2022. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 2022. Yeah. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. That's what I remember. Yeah.
And then yes, right, 22. Okay. And then 22, and then in and I studied with you for uh almost a year. And then
Mm.
and then on your advice I went to Taiwan,
Taiwan.
and then I went to Harbin, to the same university
I
that you
never
went to.
recommend Taiwan. Just a
No, no,
quick
you know,
disclaimer. Quick disclaimer.
your first client recommended it to me. David
Yes. Yes.
recommended it to
Yes.
me. He was
Yes.
like, "Oh,
Yes.
you should
Yes.
go to Taiwan. I went to the school. It's very cheap."
Yeah.
Um, and yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Mm.
I was trying to like double dip these two things. But what was amazing is like, you should find that text message I sent you where I was like, dude, it's like how come that they teach exactly the same way that you teach. Like I
Mm.
was like, it's the
Yeah.
same books, it's the same this, and that's when I
Yes.
realized I was
Yes.
like, oh, this is where you got
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like,
Good artists copy, great artists steal. But the thing is that the thing is that like there are a few things I developed myself, sort of speaking.
yeah, what are
But
those
also
things? What are the
yeah, social
specific unique
learning,
flavors?
yeah,
Oh,
social learning, like going out, talking to people, Victor talking like the channel, right? So it's like I'll
that's a
just go
huge
and
one.
there,
Yeah,
there are a lot of things I will do, also like my own techniques on how I learn and just a lot of like steps how to use with text, it's everything. But there is like yeah, and the thing with Hakon Dai, it already does not have this process.
yeah, it doesn't.
I talk
They don't push you to learn. They don't push you to do social
They have
learning.
no
They don't
process
push you.
already. It's changed.
Yeah,
It all changed. It destroyed, unfortunately. But the thing is that yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, David went to Harbin. He went to Harbin, the place that I recommended. As an American, it was really hard to get visa, to get the paperwork done, and everything. So how was your prepare? So I have two questions. I know that like you shared it before. You can repeat again, like how you were kind of ready. But when you were in the classroom with the same textbook, and when you
yeah,
looked at other people, how they learn, and you already like you you're learned with the textbook for so long, it's
yeah,
like you're like the king of textbooks to that point because you're like you finished a few of them. They're like, oh, I need to do my homework. It's like homework, dude. Like I'm already like pre-finished, like 3 chapters ahead. It's like I need to do my homework. It's like
yeah.
my style of learning when I was Hakunda, maximum. I remember like 1 hour rule, maximum 1 hour at the beginning. Then I will just spend 30 minutes on homework, and I'll just go out and talk to girls all the time, and guys too. But like when I was doing like hobby activities, but like mostly like dating and stuff. And yeah, and it's like that's where like, I wish I could study more, but yeah, can you share with us like how you executed in the classroom setting?
Well, when I got to the classroom, I was already like, I guess for other people, it's a shock. They're just like, first of all, you don't have the textbook for like the first week. You have to buy it. So everyone was looking at me like, "Where'd you get the textbook?" And I was like, "Oh, what's that make? What am I?" Like, I bought it back in America, and they look at me and they're just like, "You're fucking crazy." Like, what? What? But I had all the textbook series already, so I just knew which ones I would need to bring. I just brought them with me, and from day one, I was just like, I had the textbooks and I already had the process. I was like, okay, so preview the text. Then I go through vocab words, write them down, learn them, memorize them, go back, do ghost audio. It was like my standard procedure I've been doing for 2 years. Like that's just how you get through it. And then, grammar, then exercises and stuff. And I was like, it was just routine as normal. But one thing I noticed, man, you and Zoe, my first Chinese teacher, grilled me on pronunciation in the beginning. And I hated it. I was like, why can't I just say it like this? But
Mm,
the Fayin is the pronunciation, it was like I was speaking, I mean, 100 times better
mm,
than the average in the class. Okay, 10 times better, let's say, to like 10 standard deviation. It was huge, like the difference. People would speak at the same level, like they had the textbook knowledge. They were on the fourth textbook, and but it's like you would listen and only the teacher would understand what they were saying because
mm.
it's like, but the rest of us, it was like it wasn't native. So it was just and everything just went perfect. I was immediately number one student in the class. I just sat in the front and I just like doubled down on the advantage I had. just kept learning. In fact, I ended up learning so fast that and I wasn't like 100% dedicated to this anyway. Like, we had 3 hours of class a day and stuff, and I was just going through a textbook. But remember, like I was building a different app at that time. Like I would go home and like
Mm.
program like 6 hours during weekdays. I'd spend the
Yeah.
weekends programming. It was like I was always working, and people would be like, so it wasn't really putting that much time to the homework. It was like maybe an
Mm.
hour, maybe like 5 6 hours, maybe 10 hours max a week on just self study. um, but the advantage became so much that so we were supposed to kind of go through this whole program for 3 months, and midway through the program I just went to the next level of classes. I was like, this is just
Mm.
getting too slow, it's
Mm.
a bit boring and stuff.
So
um,
So to give you guys a perspective, David has never lived in China, and he was on and off in learning Chinese before going there. So he's like far from perfect in learning
mhm.
Chinese. So he spent time in Taiwan a little bit, but Taiwan is like
I studied a month and a half in yeah,
it was not.
like, to
He dropped out.
I got more social learning done in Bali with Chinese
Mm,
people there that I would meet, like,
yeah.
free diving and stuff, than in Taiwan. In Taiwan, it was like actually, that's the crazy thing is, like, when I was diving in Koh Tao in Thailand, I met Chinese people, they would practice with me and stuff, I would get the social learning aspect done. In Bali, the same thing. The moment I went to Taiwan, it
Mm,
was like you fall into this kind of expat bubble.
mm,
And I had these classmates. So here's another thing also. This is very important to know for people that want to go to Mandarin schools in Taiwan. If you're studying simplified characters, so I was at okay, so I'm at like upper intermediate level, HSK4, let's say. When I went to Taiwan, they were like, well, you can't read traditional characters. So we're going to put you at the 0th level class. So I was in
political,
the 0th,
political thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was at the
pretty much
0th
political.
level class learning traditional characters from base, but like my grammar was advanced, my conversation was advanced. It was just boring. But
Mm,
the students in that level, there were some students that were also just like 0 level conversational, and they're
mm,
like the stereotypical expat bubble, like let's talk English to each other during class type of thing. And when you get sucked into that, it's like, okay, we get dinner, we hang out, and before you know it, you're spending all your time in speaking English. You're not making friends with any Chinese speakers.
yeah.
I studied a month and a half, and then I just dropped out of school because at that point I got accepted to
Mm,
Hagenda, and I was like, let me just focus on my work. I shifted all of my hours into programming, and then I like prepared to go to Harbin. When I landed in Harbin, one of the biggest things I did before that was I hired Yujie as a teacher,
mm,
and Yujie and we would like I would tell her like I want to speak only Mandarin. I want to get this baseline conversational stuff done before I land in Harbin,
mm,
because the moment I landed there, the first day it was like game on. Like,
mm,
okay, like registration, hotel check in. Oh, because I was looking for an apartment because you gave me some advice. You were like, oh, just get a two-bedroom apartment for like
mm,
300 a month.
mm,
And so I was like apartment hunting, meeting with real estate agents, texting them, like, like all of this difficult stuff. But I managed all of it. Like, it wasn't easy. No, it was like I'd go to sleep feeling like my brain was dead. But it was like, because you have real estate agents, they're just as mean as like in America. Like they
mm,
call you, be like, "Where are you? Where are you? You're supposed to meet right."
mm,
Like, like that. But they're doing that in
mm,
Chinese, and you're
mm.
like, "Wait, wait, wait! I'm a foreigner. Can you speak slower?" It's like, no.
Uh,
Um, but getting through that, figuring out contracts, figuring out all that kind of shit, like, it was really hard, but it gives you this huge, huge jump into the language, and the preparation we did. I'm grateful for that, man. Like, it does all of the stuff with the textbooks, all of the online classes. I feel that the moment I landed there, I was like ready for setting up a life and excelling at my studies. I didn't go in there like a like a babe in the woods, like completely helpless.
mm.
I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm just gonna accelerate on this.
The thing that you've mentioned when you went there, so you're talking about like how like your experience with, but the most important interesting thing I find is so for everybody listening, in Hagongda, and I think in pretty much any Chinese institution these days, like in China, they have levels like A, B, C, D, E, and also
Hmm.
F. But like F is like A is complete beginner, B, and they have like also multiple groups sometimes within like B and C, and so A, B, like A beginner, B upper beginner, C, learning to be intermediate, kind of upper beginner, becoming intermediate. D, upper intermediate. But after D, you can pass HSK 5 out of 6.
Mm.
Now it's new level, so I don't know which level that would that be.
No, no, it's the
And
same.
then,
They just have a C plus one
uh,
that's between
yeah.
C and D, but D is
Yeah.
still HSK
No,
5
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're right.
C plus. I know C plus. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same when I was there. I'm just saying like the levels of HSK, like because they changed them, so I cannot relate to that.
Oh,
But yeah, this one I don't know. But I heard they changed them, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so basically, when I went to China, but I was studying Chinese, I say for 1 year, but it was like a 1 year and a half of like just knowing some stuff because I had the like this as a subject at the university because I'm my specialty, my major was world economy, and we had English and Chinese, but Chinese was, I mean, like I wasn't about, I didn't I just learned it for like exam, and I just have had no idea what the language. To be honest, when I just started, I was like, what is this language? But then yeah, but then I was just like, I learned Chinese. I remember that. Um, yeah, so basically, yeah, so David went to China and he went to Harbin and he never lived in China before. And he got placed in C group, which is already an
C
intermediate
plus
learning
one.
group. Oh, okay,
I
C
got I
plus
got
one, you
placed in
got
C
placed.
plus one, and then I
Okay,
went
so
to D
better
later.
better
Yeah.
than me. Like I was placed in C when I went there. And then he said that it was too easy in C plus. And then he got placed
After
in
about
D
2 months, yeah.
2 months.
After about 2 months, it was just boring.
D.
It was so easy,
He
it was
went to
boring.
D
So I went
group.
to D.
D group. After D, there is E group, but there wasn't E group when you were there. But there is like technically there is E group, which is HSK 6 level, like
Yeah.
about HSK 6, or the highest level possible is like about a lot of Shumyeyu or like a lot of like
Yeah.
literature language and stuff, which is not necessarily spoken. But the D group is kind of as high as you can get with conversational Chinese. And like if you master everything in D group, you're basically fluent. So to let you guys know. So although David said like, yeah, it's like so if you just, I mean, you just review the material that you studied even in D, not even necessarily go into E, you can freely like passage skip. It's like it's fluent already. And I became fluent after, I mean, not, it depends on how you count fluent. I mean, I started vlogging in Chinese after group, like vlogging in Chinese. I have videos on Weibo. But the thing is that, and he got placed in advanced group like within the first couple days. Like, yeah, the teacher, you said teacher said like, oh, you haven't been to China, but you speak kind of understand and speak and read speak, read, understand, write, type Chinese
So
better like
I
than
I
people
just
who study there.
they do this kind of placement test for you, and like the teachers just sit in a row and you sit down with them. So I just like showed up and just we just had the conversation. We were just speaking
Mm,
like like she was I was explaining to her, and we didn't speak any English, just Chinese,
mm,
and she was like, "Oh, your Koyu is really good." Like, and I
mm,
pulled out my textbook. I'm like, "Hey,
mm,
I'm on the third," or I was like, "I'm on the fourth orange textbook."
mm.
And she like flipped through it. She saw my exercises. She was like, "All right, you're on the fifth textbook now. You're in CGIE," and that was it.
Mm.
It was very simple.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. It's like that's crazy. That's kind of crazy because it's like
Dude,
you've never lived.
you set me up so well for it. It was like I could
Mm,
never have done that. I would have never found an apartment, never succeeded in the classes. It's hard, man. Like I had
it's
so many
hard. Yes.
classmates that would just be like, they're so
I
far
wasn't the
behind.
best. I
Yeah.
wasn't I wasn't the best in the class. Like I
Oh,
wasn't. I
really?
always say that. Yeah, I was like top two, top three,
Wow.
top three. Like I would like get like 86% for a test. Like 90 plus for like most of them, but only when I was like at the first semester. But in the second semester, we kind of didn't like the teacher as much, and it was like whatever. So yeah, I mean, man, when I was studying this textbook from E group, this blue oh, this is where my wallet is. So yeah, this textbook for E group, I was like, I half wasted this shit. Like I half wasted it. I was just dating in Korean already. The
You
people
already
like
started learning Korean. You started
people like
studying at that
I
Korean school,
learned
right?
Chinese in China. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I learned the language. I learned another language while you're learning Chinese, like run in circles. It's like in 3 years, people are like in 3 years I can learn. Blah, blah, blah." I'm like, yeah, I already learned another language. Like but it's like I could like proceed to learn through the depth. Like there is always something to learn. I'm still learning, by the way. So, but the thing is that the things I'm saying, like I just took Hakunda approach, and I didn't know that this approach would work And by the way, I learned Korean, like I started with Zoe, right? Like I started learning Korean with
Yeah.
Zoe. Like I went across the road, just foreigner, just like foreigner, and I went there and it's like I learned instead of learning one language, and then I went to Yonsei. I just invest all the money in learning Korean. Like it was like a throwing money on the problem type of thing. It was like I would work part time, and I would just every single like I would just like save up money for like half a year for the whole semester, spend like $3,000 to $4,000 to come to Korea and to just study here for 5 weeks. I couldn't understand what the hell I was doing because it's like I ended up in like American speaking bubble. They're all like American Koreans. I was like, I can speak Korean, but I got a lot of like fundamentals, and then I started. I was yeah, and then I just went back to Harbin, and that social learning thing that I'm very hard on. I then started dating Korean. Like next thing you know, I was like, "What the hell is this guy? Like, we're in China, but then he speak." People don't realize they watch my videos. Like, why is everybody shocked when these foreigners speak Chinese? I'm like, dude, I'm like, dude, it's not even in China. It's not your American guy going to Chinatown with xie xie, perfect American accent. It's like in Korea speaking Korean and then mid sentence switching to Chinese while being Russian. And it's like, what do you think is shock compo people can't even comprehend this thing because it's, like, too high IQ to comprehend. Because, like, well, it's not just one for a language, dude, it's, like, one foreign language on top of the other while thinking in Ru while, like, swearing in Russian when thinking in English type of shit.
It's like
It's like
seeing someone fly. Like if you
it's
just
like,
saw
and they're like,
someone levitating, yeah.
why is the shock? Well, look at the streets. Signs are in Chinese or Korean. Well, it looks like it's Korean. Well, it's in Korea, dude. Like speaking Chinese in Korea. Well, you know what? Like, and I'm in Korea. I've never lived in Japan. I'm learning Japanese now. When people ask me, like in the future, like, how long have you been living in Japan? In the future, I'll expect this question. It's like I never lived in Japan. It's like I never, right? So, and the thing is that, and it's like people, yeah, it's like you went there, you went to Hagunda, you were running circles around them, man. Like you were just
Yeah.
running circles around them, and
I
it's yeah,
I wanna stress something because so many people have this, delay I don't know where this, misconception comes from, but they think that when I get there and have no choice but to learn it, I'll be learning better than if here. And it's actually the
yes,
complete opposite because the
yes,
moment you get there, you're dealing with so much other stuff. Your brain, like, how do I buy food?
mm,
How do I cook? Like, like, you have to deal with all this. It's so much stress.
mm,
And on top of that, like, for you to excel in the language, you at least got to self study 1 hour, 60 minutes a day. So when you're sitting there and you're like, it takes you 5 hours just to eat a meal because like you go to one store, it doesn't exist, you don't know how to use the apps, like it's this
mm,
whole thing. You're so cognitively distracted when you get there. The only advantage of being there is the social learning. You can talk to everyone, you can read the signs, it's like an accelerant. But like
mm,
the best place for you to learn, I want to say this flat out for like anyone listening, anyone who ever listens to this recording ever, the best place to learn is in your home without distractions. With a textbook, with a teacher, you also need tools. And if you follow that process, you have complete control over this environment right here. I can sit here and study 1 hour every day for months with no interruptions, just focused on this. The neurons give it time. It's like people, I think, because learning a language is like learning a piano. First of all, imagine if there was an app that says, "Hey, we can teach you how to play piano." Like those all those Russian pianists, going to those camps like with no internet and studying for 4 hours a day to become the world's best pianist. They would laugh at that. They'd be like, "This isn't. You can't learn. You can't just. You have to focus. And the same comes with the same thing with languages. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm just going to go to like the jungle in Africa and sit there and practice piano every day because there's nothing else to do." It's like, no, if you were in that environment, you're fighting off leopards, you're fighting off mosquitoes, you're stealing for food. That's how stressful it is to be in a new environment. You have to prepare. You do all of the hard work here where you have stability and consistency. And then when you go there, you just prepare to take it to the next level. Like if I went to China anywhere below the level I was at, I would be stuck. I would be sitting there and be like, okay, fuck, I need foreigner friends. I gotta speak English. It's too stressful. It's too
mm.
difficult. I need
Feel
help.
lonely,
And
feeling
and here
lonely, wanted to talk and end up speaking English and stuff. Yeah.
and the people you hang out with, they're not. nobody will under people like I read this thing by Sam Altman once. I've never read anything more true. People get offended when you work hard, you know?
Mm, mm,
And if people see you, like if you have a friend group of foreigners and you're like, "Oh no, guys, I'm not gonna go do anything today with you guys. I'm just gonna sit at home and study for 2 hours every single day." You know, it makes them look bad. People will push back on it. But when you study at home in the privacy of your house, in your stable life, you can make tremendous progress without anyone interfering, without anyone getting offended, without anyone judging you. You just all you do is just achieve. You make progress, you achieve your goals. When you actually go there, you were prepared. You were very fucking prepared, and you just kind of jump right into it. And from day one, it was just like that. It was like 12 hours a day, like conversational people, and then the classes were just like I loved it. It was like 3 straight hours of very intense Chinese and every day, and with that, I accelerated, but a lot of people were just didn't have sufficient prerequisites to excel, and because they didn't do the preparation, and they really fell behind, and they got demotivated, and then they would feel like, "Oh, it's going too fast, this life sucks, and I let me hang out with all the, Russians and go to Russian size and go drinking, like, 5 days a week," that kinda stuff. It's
mm,
like, you don't want to be in that bubble. You want to your
mm.
time, as Victor says, the most limited thing ever. Like you want to make the most of it, and if you can reach if you can reach a conversationally fluent level in the language in 2 years, that's a lot of time saved because you could also study a language for 8 years and achieve no results.
Mm.
Just like people can play, there are people that play basketball and every day they get better and they become an NBA player or Michael Jordan. Then there are people that play basketball for 30 years and stay at the same level. That's still time that they wasted with no progress. You can do the same with language. Just waste time and make no progress if you do it wrong.
All childhood, I played basketball. All childhood, I literally had zero progress. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow,
I
me
would
too, man.
play like when I was like I'm very good bad at shooting, but I'm good at running and being like aggressive and like a dog but I'm very happy like good with helping, and it's
Yeah,
like and it's like the thing is that yeah, I'm trying to be competitive and stuff, but I can't shoot. It's like I miss all the time. It's like at some point I had to accept that. I had to say like I'm really bad at, and it's like looks really weird. My hand is like this. It's like
yeah,
I've been playing basketball for 5 hours a day, and it's not about how much time you put in. It's about how like. And when I was doing snowboarding, I also did there's a common mistake, especially in Russia. They try to uh, turn with the leg, which is behind. Basically, you need to do like we try with the leg which is in front, like the front leg. And I realized that, and I saw one of the guys like doing really cool stuff, and he was a teacher, and I learned from him, and it was like a life changing. We did like a couple lessons together, and it's like when it comes to somebody's asked in the chat, but it's like, oh, but isn't everybody, for some reason people find language learning like something that they can figure out on their own or like develop their own style. Well, let me tell you one thing, like you are 90, like there is a probability you can figure out and you can create your own method. Like this was me like back in the day, right? But it's like, why? Like, why would you do that, right? It's the first question. Because if I see somebody doing something better than me, like for example, I know the guy, like we will be having a live stream with the guys, Matt versus Japan. He learned Japanese on the complete native level. Native. He could choose like a few languages, but he has his own approach. Well, he became like, I don't know many people like him who didn't go to Japan, although spent a lot of years, but I think he became native not after 10 years. I think he became native after a few years, but I'll ask him personally. But the thing is that how many people how many foreigners do you know who learn Japanese without going to Japan on a level that if they speak Japanese, Japanese people can tell that they're not Japanese people. Like he has practically no accent. There are not that many people like this. And if I think about learning Japanese, well, I'm smart. I learned other languages. I know how, like I'm confident in myself. But why wouldn't I ask advice from Matt? Like why wouldn't I ask them, hey, what's your approach for Japanese? Because in Japanese, but you'll be like, but you master languages. Well, in Japanese there is a tricky thing. It's called pitch accent, and it's like Chinese tones pretty much. Actually, by the way, it's like ame. It's like ah. I'm not sure whether I'm doing it correctly, but the thing is that why wouldn't you ask what he used? Why wouldn't you ask what he actually did, right? And the thing is that, so I learned multiple languages, and I have a strategy of I also help people to learn languages that I don't even speak, like Spanish, for example, or we have Italian program. We have other, like I've worked with about 10 languages or more than 10 languages. But the thing is that it's like, why wouldn't you? Like, if I see somebody who is better than me in doing something, I will just go to them and ask them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're worse than them, even in doing this thing, because you can ask them, you can ask me how to do it, and you can become better than me because you learn from me.
Mhm.
You took my experience, and then you can become better than me in a few years and be like, Victor, you know what, I actually learned more languages than you, and it's like I became more proficient because I used all your experience plus my thing on top of that, plus something else, so why wouldn't you be the best version of yourself? But the thing is that what I'm saying, you need to actually learn from the best when you go somewhere. The reason is because I want you to become the best. It's not that I'm saying I'm the best, so learn from me. Well, you can be better than me. So it's like, if I see somebody like I learn from people who are better than me in things, like before it took me 3 years of humble time to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Then I just realized that I need to just humble myself and just literally take it and just take the negative feedback of my life. And I remember I was like in a very small room in Korea. It's like I was destroyed. I was working the shittiest job ever, and I was completely destroyed. And I remember this guy, and like Ty Lopez, and I remember his live stream about like Mr. Beast. He was like, oh, he's talking about Mr. Beast and how Mr. Beast like built this YouTube channel. He was talking about some strategy on how to do YouTube, and I was watching, I was learning, although I was like really destroyed, and I didn't know what to do. I also had my own theories. I wanted to figure it out by myself for like 3 years in China, and I didn't figure it out. And here I was in Korea. Although I found work, I was kind of happy, like kind of happy dating and stuff, and I was pretty happy. But still, life didn't work out for me because I didn't like the job, I didn't like my environment, and I didn't like a lot of things. And the thing that happened was that I just started applying the strategy that I learned from that shittiest quality life ever. Like, it was like the shittiest quality, was like lagging, was like a Zoom recording in Tai Lopez course. And it's like and he just said, study Mr. Beast and what he says. And he did couple told me, he not told me personally, although he talked to me personally quite a few times after that. But he mentioned a few things that I started applying, and then it took me like about half a year to actually take it seriously, because at the time, but I remember I just pull out my phone like after I watched it live. I literally had like 1,000 subscribers. And I remember I said, I did a quick recording. I said, like, I'll achieve million subscribers on YouTube. And I said, I still have no, but this year probably I'll do it, but we'll see. But the thing is that, and I said that I will get millions of views. And at that time I had 1,000 subscribers, right? 1,200. It took me 3 years. Then I started applying all those things that I learned from people who are better than me in what they're doing. I became humble, right? So right now you're learning languages. I want you to
Yeah.
be humble. Don't. I'm not saying like learn from me only. Like, learn from like Matt versus Japan. Like, learn from some people who are better than you. Why do you think that you can figure this out by yourself? But like, I was thinking that, and like it took me so many years, man. Like, you think I didn't? I didn't make this mistake with languages? I did. I became really good when I started reading a lot of scientific literature on how our brain works, and I went to Hagunda. That's when I created my program. Not when I was learning English. I took just I started creating some things like, oh, like write down your words in the vocabulary list. It took me like so many years to become fluent in English. It's crazy. It's like it doesn't have to take so many years. It's like you can learn it, and
Yeah.
like you can become fluent in like 2 to 3 years. It took me 5 or 6 or like 7 years to become really good. Like, why would you? So basically, oh shit, sorry, I have this earphone dropping out. So yeah, let me finish. Do you hear me well, by the way, still?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So doesn't matter. Um, so the thing I wanted to say is that after watching that live stream and after taking that advice seriously, it took me 18 months to get to 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Then it took me another year to get to 500,000. And I learned it. I did it. I just want to tell you, it wasn't a coincidence, guy. It's just an example of becoming like getting millions of views on YouTube. It wasn't a coincidence. I was a failure. I was a failure on YouTube, complete failure. And by the way, I started coaching people back when I had 1,000. David became a client when I had 1,300 subscribers. So it's like
Oh,
it
right, right.
wasn't.
David, not me. The other, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
David
David.
Sparks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You became a client when I had 20,000 subscribers.
About 20,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, and it took me, yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that I learned from the best to become better, right? And the people I learn from, I mean, Ty Lopez, right? It's not. I'm not saying it to brag or something, but I have more views than him on my YouTube channel, and it's like it's views. Like he is much more successful. I'm not saying anything, but just the funny thing, like you take advice to get better, and it's like you get so much better so that you can literally outperform the person you learn from. Do you realize that? Like, do you realize? So
Well,
I want you to outperform me with languages. Do it. Like, learn better and more native Chinese, more native Korean and Japanese. Apply or rep, track the time. You know what? If somebody like me just knocked on my door like freaking 20 years ago, I would be so much better off, even with languages, so much better off. And it's like people are just like, I can figure out by myself. Why? Don't you want to become like the best of the best? Learn from better people, like learn from people who did that, right? So that's what I wanted to say. Where
all
the
of
hell? You can say
I want to
I'm
say
just listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
I want to say all of humanity is just getting better. All of humanity. Every When you look at every sport, every metric, every activity we have, the people that do stuff now do it better than the people that did before. If you look at like the deadlifts, it's when you lift something in a specific power lift. We have a human being that lifts 1,000 pounds now, and then now we had that a few years ago, and then like four others came out who do more than 1,000 pound deadlift. Um, there was this one marathon runner. Everyone for a long time in the 20th century thought that 4 minute mile was impossible, and then there was this British medical student who beat the 4 minute mile one day, and then
Mm,
immediately after him, after he proved to everyone else that it's possible, tons of people came out to beat it. And now what's the world record mile time now? It's like 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Like it's unbelievable. People just get better at stuff. The best basketball player, like Michael Jordan, everyone like thinks Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan established, and then Kobe Bryant built everything from Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant has
mm,
been very open about like he learned everything from Michael. He
mm,
just continued that. Everyone builds on each other. I
mm.
built on top of your
Building on the
experience,
shoulders of
you
giants,
know?
exactly. Building on the
Bec-
shoulders of giants. Yeah.
and that's our whole goal with this app is to get rid build use technology to get around to build that system to get around all of the common problems so that the next generation of language learners can actually focus on like direct their energy more towards the more important stuff, and they can probably achieve results much faster than you or me, um, just because they have better tooling, better system, and they don't fall into all of the problems that we do. Like I think that's what I really like about working with you, Victor. I like that, and that working on this project is like people in my industry in tech often they fall into this like dilemma. They're like, I want to do something meaningful that actually has a value, touches people's lives. I also want to do something big and challenging, you know, and and I also want to do something that like can actually be self-sustaining. And with this project, it's the first time I've had all three of these. Like, I have a lot of colleagues, they'll go and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to build a software that helps, I'm going to build a software that, does something for merchants in terms of their inventory management. It's like, oh, cool. Like, I know they're not really excited about it. I know people that go around, they're like, well, I'm going to build something that does like insurance claim processing. Or somebody goes around and says, I'm going to build something that does like data warehouse. And it's like all these words where it's like they don't mean anything, but they know it makes money. I've had lots of friends that are like, oh, crypto, crypto, crypto. But I never went into crypto because I just like, I don't just don't see it. How does it actually make people's lives better? I want to do something that's like very challenging, very fun, it's self-sustaining, but most importantly, it actually gives human beings something. And with language learning, it's the biggest life-changing unlock. I mean, okay, I would put it here's like getting healthy and fit and like learning a language. So those two things are the two most life-changing things. Even learning mathematics is below learning a language because or getting fit. Okay, because mathematics is a subset of a skill, but learning a new language, it opens a whole planet worth of opportunities and things you can do, people you can meet, books you can read and understand, and most importantly, ideas that you can get that aren't translated. So the, when you translate stuff, it gets lost. But if you can connect with people, right? So it's just language learning and getting fit. I think I would ideally love to do something that makes everyone on planet get healthy, get fit, get strong. But like
Mm,
language learning is arguably equal in terms of the positive impact it has on human beings. Anyways, so that's what's so cool about this. I really hope that we end up building a whole cohort, a whole group of language learners that are just like fucking beasts, you know? Like
mm,
like what if we get that to that point of no return instead of it being like
mm,
3 months, they get to it in 1 month, like getting
mm,
it faster,
mm.
faster. But
We will definitely get testimonials for the app. It will be the first app, like app only, who didn't even go through my program, but there will be like app only testimonials, like from Maria, right? Maria, do you remember correctly? No, somebody else, like the girl who learns Korean like very consistently
you're talking
from
about
the
Lisa. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Lisa, sorry. So yeah, so yeah, Lisa, like people like yeah, just like different people who actually like use it and just use only the app, but kind of on their own. And
Mhm.
yeah, so that's basically. I have to hop off now because I have to go to sleep. I have a Japanese class, and I need to get my. But the thing is that I would literally, I will talk forever. We will still
Yeah.
be talking. We'll be sharing screen next time. We'll be showing more stuff. But somebody asked how to learn vocabulary. I would just say download the app, go through all the sections, and you'll kind of get my method of learning languages in general, like how to work with the textbook, what textbooks to use, how to learn language. There are all my courses in the app, so all my systems and stuff. And so basically, what we're building now, we're building AI that will actually help you also practice and learn the language. But we also will be pushing you with the right materials to use. We will not be like, but it will be the best app because it's created by people who actually learn the hardest language. And it's not some bullshit stuff that people just hey connect this car with the like word car with the picture of a car and like get some stupid points and then you go out you cannot say a word, right? It's yeah. All right guys, so click the link, go to 68lingo.com. If you want us to know that you're from YouTube, go to 68lingo.com/YouTube. What is to say? It's the same, but if you want to track or just choose that you came from YouTube, um, we really like people who come from YouTube because YouTube people are the smartest. I'm sure I don't want to be like
No,
and
now you
TikTok.
can't put this on TikTok.
Yeah,
Don't
so
cut
it's like
this out. You
YouTube,
put it
you
on
you
TikTok.
guys
Yeah.
on YouTube are the smartest, and especially staying and watching. Like we have like we've right now like I know thousands will watch it, but like we have like only 86 people, and like somebody just watched this whole thing till the end. There is something about you guys that you're just like, if you're into this content, I know that you're smart guys. Like I know that you're smart. Give it a try. Don't just like once you log into the app, just one thing before we leave, just one thing I want to say. Don't be like, oh, just I'm just getting confused. I don't know what to do. Like just go step by step. Remember, it's about time tracking, habit tracking, looking at your stats, right? Watch all the courses and see where the videos from courses coincide with the app. Right, so I'm talking about time tracking. Well, there's a time tracking tool. I'm talking about how to learn words and the usages and smart learning. Oh, there is a smart learning thing. Oh, so I'm talking about step-by-step process on how to use that. Oh, there is a textbook. Like we teach how to use a textbook, right? Oh, I'm talking about teach like being motivated by seeing how much time you already put into learning. Oh, you can see like, oh, there's are my bricks and these are my stats. I'm talking about sharing your progress, well, like share your progress and like share. So like to get
Well,
motivated to
one
show.
one more thing.
Mm,
If people we have lists of recommended textbooks that we
mm,
know work. Like
yes,
textbooks
yes,
that clients have used, textbooks that we know people actually.
yes.
There's probably hundreds of them, but if you walk in, you're
Mm,
like, oh, I don't know how to learn Japanese. We have a set of textbooks. These are recommended. You can use your
mm.
own, but these ones are actually the ones that we know work.
Another thing, guys, I want to tell is like I'm not sure whether we're supposed to tell it or not. It's like it's we don't have like investors or helpers or like teams of people working for us,
Oh
right?
yeah, we don't have
So
any funding. We're not like a venture
so
backed startup. It's just me and
so
Victor.
yeah. So basically, everything you see is what you get, right? So it's like what you see is what you get, and just the app is the good thing about us is that we just improve the app every like David works sometimes 10-hour days to build this app. How many hours do you work? Like when do you wake up to work on this app?
Oh man, I basically I don't know. I fall asleep when I'm exhausted, and then I wake up as soon as I can and just jump on working. So I don't really, but I'm aiming for 10 hours a day. That's what my goal is. I'm like, if I can hit 10 hours, it's a good day
So
of
David
programming.
is working more than it's like the greatest thing about him is that he's actually talented not only in languages now, but also in what he does. He can build anything. And this is the app. People ask when is it on Android? Guys, it's like we have to have more people there, right? So that we can focus it. But the thing is that he works 10-hour days to build this app and just and he
Ye
can't even he himself even postponed his language learning because of building. But the thing is that Newton said it's real, right? So I promoting this app, I'm marketing this app. Once you log in, just remember this app is not some stupid company with venture investors who just like want to earn money, just earn money without giving something, without making a world a better place. Because there are two types of people who only care about money, and people who care about helping people also at the same time. I mean, this, if we would care about money, what would we do? We just copy Duolingo and we would just like copy their process. This is what it would be, right? So the thing is that if you, so just remember that the app is alive. It's us, right? It's like the app is absolutely alive. It's the life thing. It's a person. And it will improve every single month. Just remember that. So if you log in there, we have a lot of people logging in, tens of people, but not everybody gets it. We have a lot of users who get it, but not everybody gets. So I just wanted to explain it. If you're on this live, I think you're smart and you'll understand what I'm saying. So that's why.
Send us feedback. There's a feature in settings that says live chat. When you do the live chat, you can have a chat with us, and we can address problems and fix things. With the app, we some things are very pretty, some things are not polished. Our
Mm,
goal is to make valuable features as fast as possible and experiment with them, see the things that help people. So to move as fast as possible, sometimes we sacrifice making things like absolutely beautiful and perfect. It's a better way. Once things, because we're just focused on making it really valuable and useful, and keep your eye and update it constantly. Keep your eyes out for AI stuff. Like after the vocab list, we want to like the thing I'm working on today. As soon as this live stream ends, is the AI voice messages, output messages. Victor's already seen the beta of it, but it's not ready yet to release. But this week, I want to get it out there, and I want people to actually practice speaking the language, speaking Chinese, speaking Korean, etc., with it, and having it speak back,
mm.
and then building vocab lists from those chats. So everything plugs in together in like a very unique way. I think it's gonna be tremendously valuable.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right. So yeah. So thank you guys for joining. Some of you will rewatch it, and thank you guys for watching it as well. And yeah, I'll see you in my videos and in my emails. Go to victortalking.com, subscribe to my email, go to 68lingo.com, get the app, get see how it works, Even if you like, I'm not sure whether you have a free trial, it doesn't even matter. I mean, you get all my courses, like you can watch all my courses for a month. If you for some reason, if you don't like the app, you can cancel. But the thing is that give it a real try. At least, even if you decide to cancel, just start tracking your time, start working on it. Like get the system, get the value from it. Don't just spend money without getting value on it. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you, David, for joining. Thank you so much for everything that you
It's
do.
always been
And yeah, it's and I'm really excited for what's coming. And yeah, we're growing. We have like a lot of people there already, and I'm so happy to also see a few people joining and checking out our app here. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
awesome. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Take care.